Hello everyone, this is me Vinod Kumar Singh. I am going to start a new topic today from chapter 2 Constitutional Design. The topic of today is Democratic Constitution in South Africa. So let's begin. What was apartheid in South Africa? Firstly, we should know what is apartheid. Discrimination among the communities on the basis of their skin color, like the blacks and whites. This discrimination could be seen in USA and in South Africa. Now, what was apartheid in South Africa? So, Africans were discriminated in many ways in everyday life. What type of that discrimination? Africans were not allowed in the whites areas until and unless they were called, and generally the Africans were called for cleaning and other activities. Africans were not allowed to live in the whites areas, the public parks, the public toilets, the cinema halls. These all were reserved for the whites. Blacks were not allowed to go there. So against this apartheid discrimination, the blacks started their movement. Since 1950, the blacks, the colored, and Indians fought against apartheid system. They launched protests, marches, and strikes under one umbrella organization, the African National Congress. Nelson Mandela. He was a devotee who has fought his. Nelson Mandela was he was the important figure of the apartheid movement. Nelson Mandela devoted his whole life in fighting against apartheid. He and his 7 leaders were tried for treason by whites. They were sentenced for lifetime imprisonment in 1964 for daring to oppose the apartheid. So this you can see that like democratic rights we have in our country, that if we want to oppose something we can do, but in South Africa it was a crime. So Nelson Mandela and his other leaders, they were standing against the apartheid that was inhuman practice. His colleagues, they all were tried for treason by the whites and sentenced for whole time imprisonment. Now we go towards a new constitution. In South Africa, continuous as we have seen in 1950s, from the time many protests and struggles were started. So continuous struggles and protests could be seen in South Africa. These things have realized the government that the British or the whites, that they could no longer keep the blacks under their rule through repression. The white regime changed its policies. They brought many changes in the existing policies and rules. They have uplifted the ban on political party and media. After 28 years of imprisonment, Nelson Mandela walked out of the jail as a free man. Finally, at midnight of 26th April 1994, a new national flag of Republic of South Africa was unfurled. This is the flag of Republic of South Africa. How was accommodation become possible in South Africa? The black and the white communities, these were the two different communities which had a wide gap among themselves. The white were in minority, but they were very wealthy, they were propertied one, they were the powerful. The blacks were in majority, but they were poor and propertyless. When the time came to design the constitution, the black leader appealed to fellow blacks to forgive the whites for the atrocities they had committed while in power. A new South Africa was based on equality of all races and men and women, on democratic values, social justice, and human rights. The representatives of both the communities, the blacks and white leaders, they sat together and drew up the common constitution for South. Thus, the world's one of the finest constitution was formed. Thank you for watching the video.